The world knew him as Diddy, a titan of music, a symbol of success. He built an empire from talent and ambition: Bad Boy Entertainment, Sean John Clothing, Kyrock Vodka. His name was synonymous with hip-hop royalty. For decades he defined a certain kind of glamour, a certain kind of power. But empires, no matter how grand, can face a reckoning. And for Sean Combs, that reckoning arrived with stunning speed. The whispers had been there for years perhaps. But suddenly, they became a roar that threatened to bring everything crashing down. Imagine the scene, the lights, the parties, the applause, all replaced by a stark, cold reality. The man who seemed untouchable, the man who curated the soundtrack for a generation. Now he stands at the center of a storm of accusations so serious, so dark. They challenge everything we thought we knew. This isn't just about one man's fall, it's about the structures that might have enabled it. It's about the voices that were, for too long, unheard. The fall from such a height is always dramatic. But this one feels different. It feels like a turning point. The surprise wasn't just the accusations themselves, it was the swiftness, the way the carefully constructed image began to crumble, like a dam breaking. One story, then another, then a flood. The empire he meticulously built, brick by glittering brick. It now seems perched on the edge of a precipice. Friends have grown distant. Business deals are in jeopardy. The music, once a celebration, now plays against a backdrop of unease. What does it mean when a hero is accused of such things? It forces us all to ask hard questions. This isn't just a celebrity scandal. Oh no, this is far deeper than that. It touches on power. It touches on abuse. It touches on a culture that perhaps looked away for too long. The shiny veneer of fame often hides complex truths. And now, those truths are stepping into the light. For Sean Diddy Combs, the journey from the pinnacle of hip-hop to the harsh glare of a federal investigation has been a brutal public spectacle, a spectacle that has everyone watching and wondering, what really happened down the Diddy Road? The charges against Sean Combs are not minor, they are grave. They paint a picture so disturbing. We're talking about federal indictments, accusations of sex trafficking, racketeering, and serious repeated abuse. These are words that carry immense weight. They speak of organized criminal activity, they speak of exploitation, they speak of profound harm inflicted on individuals. This is not a simple case of he said, she said. This is the United States government leveling some of its most serious allegations. It's a story that has sent shockwaves far beyond the music industry. Think about what racketeering means. It suggests an ongoing criminal enterprise, a coordinated effort to engage in illegal activities for profit or power. The indictment alleges a pattern of behavior, a system designed to control and exploit. The term sex trafficking is chilling. It implies coercion. It implies the commodification of human beings. These are not just legal terms. They represent real people, real lives allegedly shattered. The magnitude of these accusations against such a public figure, it is truly staggering. It demands our full attention. Why is this such a huge story? Because Diddy was more than a musician. He was an icon, a self-made billionaire. He represented a dream for many, the American dream, some might say, with a hip-hop beat. His influence stretched across music, fashion, and business. When someone so powerful, so influential, faces such charges, it forces a collective intake of breath. It makes us question the very nature of fame and power. Can that much power corrupt? Can it shield wrongdoing? These are the questions that hang heavy in the air. The indictment didn't just appear out of thin air. It followed months, perhaps years of investigation. It followed brave individuals coming forward. The legal documents lay out a timeline. They detail alleged incidents. They name alleged co-conspirators. This is the start of a legal battle that will be dissected and debated for a long time to come. But beyond the courtroom drama, there's a human story. A story of alleged victims seeking justice, and a story of an industry grappling with its own complicity, perhaps. The world is watching. The truth is what we seek. The day was March 25, 2024. A day that will likely be etched in hip-hop history. Federal agents from Homeland Security investigations descended. Not on one, but two of Sean Combs' opulent mansions. One in Los Angeles, the other in Miami. The images were stark: armored vehicles, officers in tactical gear, helicopters circling overhead. It was a scene usually reserved for a takedown of a major criminal organization, not the homes of a music mogul. The message was clear. This was serious. This was big. What were they looking for? They were looking for evidence. Evidence to support the very serious allegations we've discussed. According to reports and unsealed documents, they found plenty to sift through. Investigators meticulously searched the properties. They were looking for anything that could shed light on the alleged crimes. We heard about guns being seized, multiple firearms. This raised immediate questions about safety and control within those walls. Were these for protection, or were they part of an environment of intimidation? These are questions the investigators are asking. But it wasn't just firearms. Reports indicate that large sums of cash were also found, and electronics. Lots of electronics, computers, phones, hard drives. In today's world, these devices hold our secrets. They hold our communications. They hold our histories. Investigators would be looking for messages, videos, financial records, anything that could corroborate the claims of trafficking, abuse, or financial crimes. The search also reportedly yielded documents, business records, personal papers, each item a potential piece of a much larger puzzle. The feds weren't just knocking, they were digging deep. And then there were the tapes. The existence of extensive surveillance systems within Diddy's homes has long been rumored. The raids reportedly uncovered a significant collection of video recordings. What do these tapes show? Who is on them? Do they depict illegal activities? These are the questions that investigators are now painstakingly trying to answer. The contents of those tapes could be crucial. They could be damning, or they could offer a different perspective. But their very existence speaks to a level of recording and monitoring that many find unsettling. The walls had eyes, it seems, and now, so does the law. For years, she was known as Diddy's protege, his girlfriend, the beautiful singer Cassie Ventura. Their relationship was public, but the reality, she alleges, was a private hell. In November 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit that sent tremors through the industry. It was a detailed, harrowing account. She accused Diddy of a decade of abuse, physical violence, sexual assault, psychological torment. It was a courageous step. A step that many say opened the floodgates for others. Cassie's lawsuit painted a grim picture. She described alleged incidents of being beaten, of being forced to take drugs, of being controlled in every aspect of her life. She claimed Diddy wielded his immense power and influence. He kept her trapped in a cycle of abuse. One of the most disturbing allegations involved a hotel CCTV video, a video that later surfaced publicly. It appeared to show Diddy physically assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway in 2016, pushing her, kicking her, dragging her. The images were shocking. They were visceral. They seemed to give a face to the words in her lawsuit. Her story wasn't just about physical pain. It was about alleged emotional and psychological devastation. She spoke of being made to feel worthless, of her career being stifled, of living in constant fear. Cassie's allegations detailed how Diddy allegedly controlled her finances, her social interactions, even her appearance. This kind of control is a hallmark of abusive relationships. It's designed to isolate the victim, to make them dependent on their abuser. Her words resonated with many. They sparked a broader conversation about power dynamics in relationships, especially in the spotlight. Though Cassie settled her lawsuit with Diddy swiftly, her voice was heard. Her detailed complaint became a public record. It provided a roadmap for investigators. It gave courage to others who might have been silent. Her decision to speak out, despite the potential backlash, despite the power of the man she was accusing, it was a pivotal moment. It signaled that the time for silence was over. Cassie's truth, as she told it, became a catalyst for a much larger and much needed reckoning. Her bravery cannot be overstated. Sean Diddy Combs was famous for his parties, legendary some called them, star-studded events, lavish affairs that attracted the biggest names in entertainment. They were a symbol of his status, his influence, his ability to bring together the worlds of music, fashion, and Hollywood. But as the investigations unfolded, a darker picture of these gatherings began to emerge. Witnesses started to speak. They described a different kind of party, one that was far from glamorous, one that allegedly hid a disturbing reality. Some witnesses, including former associates and party attendees, have reportedly described disturbing scenes. They spoke of an environment where drugs were plentiful, where young women were allegedly plied with alcohol and substances. The term freak-off parties began to circulate, a crude and unsettling name. It suggested events where sexual activity was not just present, but perhaps expected, or even coerced. These weren't just rumors, these were accounts being shared with investigators, accounts that painted a picture of exploitation under the guise of celebration. What exactly were these freak-off parties? According to some testimonies, these were events allegedly orchestrated for Diddy and his associates. Women, often young and aspiring, were allegedly invited. They were sometimes promised career opportunities or simply a chance to be part of Diddy's inner circle. But the reality, some claim, was far more sinister. Witnesses have described an atmosphere of pressure, an expectation to participate in sexual acts. Some have alleged that sex workers were regularly present, and that these events were sometimes filmed. This raises serious questions about consent, about exploitation. The people involved, according to reports, were a mix: celebrities, music industry figures, athletes, and many young, often vulnerable individuals. The logistics of these alleged parties are also under scrutiny. How were guests invited? Who supplied the drugs and alcohol? Who was responsible for ensuring the right people were there? These are the questions investigators are piecing together. The testimony of those who were present, those who saw what happened. It is crucial to understanding the full scope of the allegations. The glitz of the party scene may have hidden a disturbing truth, a truth that is now slowly coming to light. Investigators aren't just looking at individual incidents, they are trying to piece together a system of alleged power, control, and intimidation. How did Sean Combs' group allegedly operate? The picture emerging suggests a sophisticated operation, one that allegedly used Diddy's fame, wealth, and influence. It was used to attract, and then, to allegedly exploit and silence individuals. This wasn't just about parties, it was about an alleged pattern of behavior, a pattern that spanned years, if not decades. The logistics of the alleged enterprise are a key focus. How were people allegedly trafficked? How was money moved? How were operations kept secret for so long? Evidence reportedly includes financial records, travel logs, communications between Diddy and his associates. Investigators are looking for patterns that show how individuals were allegedly recruited, how they were transported, and how they were controlled. This involves looking at who booked the flights, who paid for the hotel rooms, who delivered the messages. It's like untangling a complex web. The people involved are another critical piece of the puzzle. The indictment names alleged co-conspirators, but the network likely extends further. Who were Diddy's enablers? Who were the recruiters? Who were the ones who enforced his alleged demands? Investigators are likely looking at a hierarchy, a structure where different individuals played different roles. Some might have been directly involved in illegal activities, others might have facilitated them, or simply looked the other way. The fear of Diddy's power, his influence. It may have kept many people silent for a very long time. The evidence gathered from the raids, the financial documents, the witness testimonies, they all contribute to building this picture, a picture of an alleged criminal enterprise, one that used the facade of a legitimate music and entertainment business. It used it to allegedly hide dark secrets, the use of non-disclosure agreements, the alleged threats and intimidation. These were all tools, investigators might argue. Tools used to maintain control, to ensure silence. Unraveling this alleged playbook is a monumental task, but it is essential for understanding the full extent of the accusations, and for achieving justice if wrongdoing is proven. The music industry is a world of connections, a world of relationships, a world where reputations are everything. When the allegations against Diddy exploded into public view, the reaction was complex. There was shock, yes, but there was also a disturbing undercurrent, a sense that perhaps some people knew, or suspected. For years rumors had swirled, whispers in green rooms, stories shared off the record, but few spoke out publicly. The power Diddy wielded was immense. Challenging him was a risk few were willing to take. Many industry insiders expressed disbelief, or at least public disbelief. How could this happen? How could someone so successful, so celebrated be accused of such things? But others, often anonymously at first, began to speak. They talked about a culture of silence, a culture where powerful men were often protected, where victims were often disbelieved, or worse, blamed. Some artists and executives who had worked with Diddy distanced themselves. Others remained silent. Their silence in itself spoke volumes to many observers. There were also questions about who might have looked the other way, or even actively helped to cover up alleged misdeeds. The music business, like any big industry, has its gatekeepers, its power brokers. Were there people who benefited from Diddy's success? People who chose not to see what might have been happening right in front of them? These are uncomfortable questions, but they are necessary. The concept of enablers is central to understanding how such alleged patterns of abuse can persist for so long. It's rarely just one person acting in a vacuum. The reactions weren't just from insiders. Fans were also divided. Many struggled to reconcile the image of the charismatic entertainer with the horrific allegations. Some defended him fiercely, others felt betrayed. The artists whose careers Diddy launched, many of them faced a difficult choice. speak out and risk alienating a powerful figure, or stay silent and risk being seen as complicit? The entire episode has forced a painful self-examination within the music world, an examination of its values, its power structures, and its responsibility to protect the vulnerable. The echoes of this trial will reverberate for a long time. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs isn't just about one man's fate, it's a seismic event for the music industry, especially for hip-hop. An industry Diddy helped build and shape. The fallout is already visible, and it's likely to continue for years to come. One of the immediate impacts has been on Diddy's own business empire. Brands are distancing themselves, partnerships are being severed. His music sales and streams have reportedly been affected. The carefully crafted image, once a source of immense wealth, is now a liability. Beyond the financial, there's a cultural shift underway. The allegations have emboldened others to speak out. There's a growing demand for accountability, not just for Diddy but for anyone in a position of power who abuses it. We may see new policies, new codes of conduct within record labels and management companies, perhaps even new laws designed to protect artists and employees from exploitation and abuse. The #Me Too movement made inroads in Hollywood. Now it feels like a similar wave is crashing onto the shores of the music industry, and it's long overdue. People are re-evaluating legacies, not just Diddy's, but the legacies of others who may have operated in similar ways. There's a greater scrutiny of the lyrics, the lifestyles, the power dynamics that have often been glorified in hip-hop culture. This doesn't mean the end of hip-hop, far from it, but it could mean a more conscious, a more responsible iteration of it. Artists are finding their voices. They are demanding safer workspaces. They are challenging the old guard. This could lead to a healthier, more equitable industry for everyone. The ties that bound the industry are being tested. Some are breaking, others are being reforged in a new light. Companies are reviewing their associations. They are thinking twice about who they celebrate, who they partner with. The look the other way culture is slowly, hopefully, being dismantled. This trial, as painful and shocking as it is, it might ultimately be a catalyst for positive change, a chance to reset, a chance to build a music world where talent can thrive, without fear, without exploitation. That is the hope. So, what happens next? For Sean Combs, the legal battle is just beginning. If convicted of the most serious charges like racketeering or sex trafficking, he faces the possibility of decades in prison. These are federal charges. The penalties are severe. His high-powered legal team will mount a vigorous defense undoubtedly. But the weight of the evidence, the number of accusers, the public nature of the case, it all points to a long and arduous road ahead for him. His freedom, his legacy, his entire empire, everything is on the line. Beyond Diddy, what does this mean for others who may have been involved, or who may have engaged in similar behavior? The investigation is ongoing. It's possible that more names will surface, that more charges could be filed. This trial could be the first of many dominoes to fall. It sends a powerful message. A message that no one, no matter how rich or famous, is above the law. It signals a shift in who is believed, and who is held accountable. This could empower more victims to come forward, to seek justice. For fans and the hip-hop community, this is a moment of profound reflection. How do we process this? How do we separate the art from the artist? If the artist is accused of such terrible things, can we still listen to the music? These are personal questions. There are no easy answers, but the conversation itself is important. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about fame, about power, about the heroes we create, and about the responsibility we all have to demand better, to protect the vulnerable. This trial is more than just a courtroom drama. It's a cultural reckoning. It's a painful, necessary examination of the shadows that can exist behind the brightest lights. The outcome, whatever it may be, will shape the future of the music industry. It will influence how power is wielded, how artists are treated, and how justice is pursued. The story of Diddy's alleged downfall is a cautionary tale, a story of ambition, power, and the devastating consequences when that power is allegedly abused. The final notes of this saga have yet to be played, but the music world will never be quite the same.